Good morning. It's day 3 at the Aerospace and Defense Supplier Summit, Seattle. And I'm continuing our process of interviewing the suppliers that are here to give you an idea of what type of suppliers are here, a little bit about their company, and why you might want to consider being part of the event next year. But I'm going to start out by having a discussion here with my friend Greg Benson, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And we just met, and he's been telling me a little bit about the advanced technology they have in their company. And so we're just going to jump right in, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the interesting things that they're doing. Greg, can you just briefly tell people, who are you and what do you do, just to start us off?
I'm Greg Benson. I represent Casting Par for sales in North America. We're a Belgian investment casting foundry specializing in titanium and stainless steel alloys.
Excellent. Well, one of the reasons that we wanted to dig in a little bit deeper is that I understand that you are doing some really unique things that are different than the industry. And so what I'd really like to do is understand what it is you're doing that's unique and why that's important, how
Certainly.
it applies, within the industry. So we'll kind of break it up a little bit. But if you could just start off by saying, what is it you're doing that's unique that people would want to hear about?
SET has pioneered the technology of pouring under centrifugal conditions, which gives you greater casting density, which gives you cast properties akin to a forged density. So in applications where you've traditionally used forgings, you can now use a cast product, giving you a 95% net shape part instead of maybe a 60% net shape part with a lot of additional machining. So the cost savings are exponential in using a cast product instead of a forged product. We pioneered the first application of a casting in landing gear for aircraft. This was for the Mitsubishi regional jet, but we pioneered the first use on the Airbus A380, and now we're making them for the Airbus A350 and a number of other Airbus programs. We've got new programs starting with Boeing aircraft as well as Embraer.
Excellent. So this is one of the castings then, right?
Yes.
Here. And what is this casting made of?
This is made of 6442 titanium, and it's investment cast. It's spun under 60 times gravity as the metal is introduced to the mold, and it gives you a much tighter grain structure than a static pour. That's how we have elevated mechanical properties that cross over with forged product.
Now, you said this is on a Mitsubishi RJ?
This actually was a canceled project, and that's why I got the sample.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Mitsubishi scrapped their regional jet product, but we had
okay.
started making them. So this became useless for the customer, so I got to keep it.
It's a bit confusing because, we now call RJ, well, is it Bombardier or is it Mitsubishi?
Right.
So, it's a little bit confusing. So
yeah, they were developing a regional jet, and up until about 2 years ago, in the midst of the pandemic, they canceled the program.
So let's just switch back then. So there are some of the products in use today, though.
Absolutely.
And just give me an idea of where.
Well, we make the torque tubes for all of the Airbus A380, which is the largest aircraft flying. So it's a much larger torque tube.
Okay.
That's one of our unique capabilities is we can pour casting up to 1,000 pounds in a single casting. It's much larger than most anybody in our industry, and our pouring setup allows that.
Now, you've given me the technical value and the reason why somebody should do that, which that makes sense to me. So give me kind of the business value. Why would somebody want to do this from a business perspective? Financially, or MTBF, or what? What is the reason why from a business perspective that you would want to do something like this?
Well, the cost savings of making a cast product compared to a forged product is the accuracy of a casting is much more tight. Okay. So instead of adding 10 hours of machining to a forging, you can add 2 hours of machining to a casting.
Okay.
So 8 hours times whatever your hourly rate is in machining is a huge savings in the manufacturing process. Yeah. And it also gives you better design freedom for what you want out of your part.
And how about reliability and failure and things like that?
0 failures in the field in the last 15 years that we've been making these. So it's been tested in real world conditions on the heaviest jet in the air.
Yes, that's fantastic.
And we're expanding from commercial to military programs now, quoting on a number of Lockheed Martin programs. So we're expanding our envelope in this area, but we also use the same technology to make bearing supports for engine programs. So we make the bearing support for the LEAP B variant of GE Aviation, which goes on every Airbus A320, as well as the 737 MAX.
Perfect. Now, let me just ask you this, is that we're here today at the Aerospace and Defense Supplier Summit, Seattle, all right? And I wanted to ask you this, is that why would you attend an event like this? Why did you come here?
The business-to-business sales aspect of it is very valuable. Everybody who is a Boeing supplier is here, so you can talk to the second-tier people who are building the engines for Boeing, the landing gear people, all the different feeder companies are here. And coming out of the pandemic, it's the first opportunity to be face-to-face with a lot of these people over the last 2 years.
Yeah, I understand. And then I also understand that there's arrangements where you can meet with Boeing buyers and things like that as well, or
Absolutely.
other OEM buyers. And have you been able to do that while you're here?
Yeah, there's a very large Boeing presence, and I think they make a pointed effort to see everybody that's here.
Okay.
So we spoke specifically with their casting sourcing people yesterday and had a very good meeting.
Perfect. Very good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
One of the things I always like asking people is that we always have people watching out there, and they also come to me and say, how do I create a relationship with an OEM? You know, if you would give the people watching some kind of advice that says, how could you engage and sell more of your parts to OEM manufacturers, what advice would you give them?
Well, from a LinkedIn perspective, you can use a sales navigator and really bore down on the specific contacts that you need to contact. Reach out through LinkedIn, but then follow up through other channels, and then it's a warm contact, and you're not coming out of the blue making contact from them. And so that's the channel I usually pursue.
Perfect. You know, and I used to work at Boeing, and even inside the company, I know how difficult it is to navigate and find the right people. And so I see that a lot of people have a good opportunity to connect directly with the individuals responsible for procurement, you know, in materials here at this event. And so have you found it easier to connect with like the OEM manufacturers being at an event like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In particular, the Boeing people, but in general, there was a massive contraction in the casting industry through the pandemic. A lot of people had to let employees go. We kept our entire workforce. We paid them through the pandemic when we didn't have work for them. So now returning to maximum capacity, we still have 100% capacity available. I mean, 50% of our capacity is unused right now. So we're in a very unique position in the industry where people are stretching lead times out. Our lead times are still where they were pre-pandemic.
Excellent.
So we're able to serve better.
Good strategy.
Yeah.
Good work. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very forward thinking. I'm proud of our management for making that
very
expense.
Good. Now, if people wanted to continue this conversation with you about maybe the technology, or doing business with you, or maybe just ask you any questions, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Well,
with
my email is greg@pointindustrial, and I'm always easy to reach there. They can go through Casting Par and link up through their website and find the contact information to go directly to Casting Par, and then they'll refer me to anybody in North America that is interested in the product.
And are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn as well.
And so tell them your name again and how they can find
Greg Benson, and my company is Point Industrial, and I'm listed on LinkedIn under that.
Excellent. All right, very good. Listen, I really appreciate you taking time to talk to us, and I hope those of you watching, find this information was helpful. I find it interesting. I didn't even realize that this kind of technical process was being accomplished. So thanks for sharing that. I think it's very interesting. I spoke with somebody on the phone yesterday that was following the interviews we've been doing for the last 2 days, and they said it's been really interesting just to see some of the different technologies that people have. And so I know that there are people watching that will appreciate what you've said today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much.
I wish you for a good show.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks everybody for watching. And we'll be doing a few more interviews today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next interview. Thanks. Bye.